Okay, Dhamma friends, we are going to start today's discussion as the last discussion of Alagaddupama Sutta, the water snake simile discourse. As you may remember, we have been discussing many Dhamma points of the discourse, but we leave some of them to discuss today. So we are going to cover that part as well as some beautiful teachings of the Buddha about grasping or attachment or upadana. So we go on this slide which explain non-self, and as mentioned in the sutta, you cannot read the couple of words in the first para, but I will read it for you. Uh, Non-self. Because you may well cling to the self-doctrine that would not cause sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair to arise in one who cling to it. So the idea is clear that the Buddha uh, give an idea that it's okay to cling to self-doctrine, but there should be a guarantee that it does not give sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief of the person who cling to it. Because the second para, he says, I too do not see any possession that is permanent, everlasting, eternal, unchanging in nature, eternally the same, that would endure as long as eternity. So he is going to tell here that there is nothing like that is permanent, everlasting, unchanging. So he wanted to tell that if there is anything that is permanent, everlasting, unchanging, please go with it. Attach to it, because there is nothing wrong happened there. How many of us found something permanent so far in our life? Nothing. I cannot find anything. I haven't lived like you, so much like you, so many years like you. But throughout my life, I haven't seen anything permanent. Mistakenly or ignorantly, we may think certain things in our society, in our nature, could be permanent. In my temple, there is a Aralia tree, right? And I don't see changes of it. Even leaves look like too old, and the tree and the itself doesn't show growing or decaying. According to devotees who have been so many years in their life, throughout their life they were living in the village, they say that they saw in their young age they saw the same thing that we see here today. So according to them, it's 200 or 300 years old tree. So similarly, we can see some buildings, some structures, some trees, some something like that no changes happen throughout one's lifetime. Uh, it is not against the cultural aspect or a conventional truth that they are permanent, to say that they are permanent. But from the big point of view, but from the absolute point of view, they are of course changing. The problem we normal human beings have there is that we are changing faster than those objects, so we don't see the change. So in my point of view, throughout my experience, I don't see anything permanent, and of course you witness that too. Therefore Buddha said that I do not see any possession that is permanent, everlasting, eternal, unchanging in nature, eternally the same, that would endure as long as eternity. So Buddha says this not only from his own conventional experiences, but from direct knowledge he received, he developed at the attainment of enlightenment. Because you may well cling to the self-doctrine that would not cause sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair to arise in one who clings to it. Again, he says it is okay to cling to anything that is permanent. But we cannot see that, right? Any doctrine, any view that is not ending, that is not changing, could be something to cling to it. But I don't see such things, he says, because you may well rely on that support of views that would not cause sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair to rise in one. But one thing he always says that not all the views are bad. Suppose that we have a view that we should go to temple, to the monastery, and that's a view, right? That's an idea. How about giving dana is good thing, is a good practice. It is a view, it is an idea. Helping parents, brothers and sisters, sharing your good thoughts, those are ideas, views. But though they are views, they are not bad. Therefore, Buddha encouraged people to cling to those views. Do we experience suffering, sorrow, lamentation by clinging to all these views that I explained? Giving dana, observing sila, and so forth. What I'm saying now is something different from what he said here. Uh, Buddha said here, because you may well cling to the self-doctrine that would not cause sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair to arise in one who cling to it. Right? So in the Noble Eightfold Path, we can see the separation into two. The Noble Eightfold Path has been divided into two, as mundane and supramundane. So Samma Ditti is a view, right view. It's translated as right view. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. Because the second and the fourth say something different. So yeah, first one is going with the second one, and the third one is going in with the fourth one. Sorry about, I should separate them better than this. So that's why there is a repetition there. Yeah, the first one and the third one are similar, and if you may well cling to the self doctrine and so forth, and the second one and the fourth one are different, and Buddha wanted to tell that I do not see such things. And then the Buddha said, you may well rely on some rely that support views that would not cause sorrow, lamentation, pain, and so forth. So this statement open up uh, certain conclusions, such as the mundane view and supramundane view. Attached to mundane view, wholesome mundane views. What are the wholesome mundane views? Giving dana is good. Giving dana is uh, clearing our path into sila and samadhi and panya. Then visiting holy places for your self encouragement for the practice is good. Listening to Dhamma, they are still under mundane system which could create certain clinging, but they are wholesome. Those attachment. If you attach to Dhamma, of course, in from absolute point of view, it is not good. But into certain extent, you should attach to them until you understand the core of it, right? Suppose we attach to Dhamma. What do we do then? We listen to the Dhamma. We may find the different discourses on one particular subject, and we read and we argue on it. We have debates on it for the purpose of understanding more about that. Still, we have to draw lines, or not to go to make people angry. When we do debates, we just try to win over, but we have to draw lines not to get such things, but still we can attach to it. I think you understand what I mean. That attachment is not like the attachments to bad things. We attach to sensual pleasures, we attach to this thing and that thing, but what is attachment is there is going forward with a strong interest on the practice. So Buddha clearly says that if you attach to something wholesome, that there is no suffering, that would be good. Do such things. But if the attachment is giving you suffering, sorrow, lamentation, that is bad, even though you attach to something holy, something sacred, right? So when we talk about self, this attachment is really important. What is self? What is non-self? From Western point of view, all the religions believe that there is a self which is created by super power, and we can name God, the God, or whatever. Uh, they cannot think of something different from that. In India, where the Buddha was, they believed that there is a self, and that is created by the Brahma. So when the Buddha was questioned about what do you think about the self, how it is created, he did not say only no. He did not give a direct answer for that, just like say no, there is no such thing and so forth. Instead of saying no or very simple answers, he tend to give long categorical answers, because he knew that people ask these kind of questions based on self view, based on the idea of self. In many occasions, he therefore explain the way the non-self, not self, is not the anatta in Buddhism. Not self means there is no self, but Buddha talks about non-self. Non-self means he did not deny directly that there is no self, but instead he explained that I don't worry about having a self or not, but let's investigate yourself and other things around you to see whether there is a self. So having said that, he divided the human body, human mind into various tiny parts. As we know, the body has been categorized into 32 parts, and then Buddha instructed monks and nuns and lay people to meditate on the dead bodies and those parts, elements, and then when we take the mental, mind, it has been broken down into various sections, various categories. So at the end, he asked, "Now where is you, and who is the I, me and myself?" Simply, we call this is Sabante, this is so and so. That's how people believe. A lot of theistic religions believe that this so and so is created by so and so. Then Buddha, instead of denying uh, the self concept, he says that okay, take you and take each part of your body: head hair, body hair, skin, nails, uh, teeth, bones, muscles, bloods, urine, and so forth, heart, liver, and so forth. So if you take all these parts separated from this system and put in separate bowls, could you still say that this person is there? Then people say no. Then what they are there? What can you see? It's this is a ball of bones and blood and muscle and so forth. So Buddha did not stop there in his categorization. So Buddha said that what is in and what is made by this lump of flesh and collection of bones and blood and so forth. Some people answered correctly, some people could not, but the answer is that they are made by four elements. And at the end of the analysis, can we see I, me, myself? So instead of saying not self, he says non-self, anatta. In that you may find another definition, another meaning, that is, there is no valuable things or beneficial thing could be found in this karma created body, the person. When you say anatta or non-self, it means that it is fragile, breakable, impermanent, and there is nothing to take as me and myself, because everything is subject to dissolve, depart, separate. So that's the theory of non-self. If you understand non-self, you may realize that okay, I am here and I feel my body. I know that there are thoughts and I'm thinking, but what is thinking, who is thinking, and then what these ideas are. So you categorize your mind and body into various, and you may not be able to find you in you. So at the end, this is not the end of the analysis. At the end, then you decide where I attach, where is the clinging? Why should I cling to things that I see, that I sense, that I smell, that I feel? Because because you see the impermanence of everything. So in terms of understanding non-self, you may see the impermanent first. Perhaps you feel suffering as it is, because that's the most uh, clear and visible experience human beings get. For example, uh, you go home today and you feel sick. What is the manifestations there? What is the manifestation? Suffering, right? You're not feeling comfortable. There is a pain in the body, like burning and tired and headache and so forth. So it's suffering. So suffering is the quality that you experience there. With the suffering, what you realize is few hours before, few hours in the evening, in the afternoon, I was not sick, but now I am sick. So you see the change of your health. You see the change of the feeling. So then you go to impermanence. So in such a way, you may realize first the suffering as it is, suffering as they are, and then the impermanence. With the combination of these two important characteristic of your life, of your mind, you realize that there is nothing to cling into this. So that's how you see the connection of the connection between among the three characteristic of reality: the impermanent, suffering, and non-self. So I wanted to explain this uh, further, but here this is enough, because you know what is non-self. So in practical part, I urge you to meditate on this. So when you meditate on the subject of uh, breath or loving kindness or any other, try to address this non-self. How do we do that? We start the meditation on breath and go on with the breath for some time. Whenever you feel that your concentration has been arisen, just wait and see who this person is, what my body is, and what kind of feelings are there, and what are the thoughts that I have. So question all these things. You may realize that how these things connected each other, and how this body is giving this kind of tranquility, pleasure in the body, and so forth. You may be able to realize everything. So applying the theory of non-self could be practiced at any point of your meditation. Only thing you need is the proper investigation in the right moment. Any questions?
I do understand that if I will attain Nibbana after my meditation or this work, but I know that it is not going to happen. So, what is going from here? Because we say that all our karma comes with us, okay? I don't know whether I or energy or whatever. So, how do you differentiate between that
The command.
continuity and not permanent?
Yeah.
Nothing is permanent, but there is a continuity also there. How is that? I don't know.
The question is really good. The question is really good because when we talk about karma and rebirth, the theory of non-self is going to be controversial into certain extent. That is because of lack of evidences and examples and investigation in non-self and also karma, because in the teachings of the Buddha we don't see much of karma theory and rebirth connect to the theory of non-self. So I am totally agree to that questions and that idea, because a lot of people confused about this. We say that karma is coming behind us, or karma is the creator of both happiness and peace. Whatever we did 1 hour ago is the previous karma. Whatever we did a couple of minutes ago could follow us, or the results of that could follow us. So similarly, whatever we did in previous life, of course, resulted for this life to come into this level. So that is there. At the same time, we say that there is no person called I and I, me, myself, because it is an illusion and it is created by for survival. It is created for existence, and then of course it is true, because we have names, and names is given a certain a being which we call human. Human is also a name, and then we see brain, and they are also name. At the end there are four elements, and connected to that we say there is no person. Yeah, there is no, but still karma is there. So I agree to that there are no enough explanations with that karma and non-self. But let me try to give an answer. uh, uh, yes, we agree that there is no person who is coming from a different beginning without changing, right? We say that there is a person, but with changes he or she comes, and at any occasions at all, he or she is changing from moment to moment. At the same time, the karma is also changing. The false idea is that the karma we did in previous lives come into this life. It doesn't happen. Yes. So that's what I'm trying to clear. That's what I'm trying to clear. What suppose that you gave a dana in previous lives, right? So you invited, you know, beggars and homeless people, or monks and nuns, or your friends, and out of so much faith, out of so much respect and compassion, you did it done, and you were overjoyed with the power of giving. So let's say that resulted at the last, that came to your mind at the last moment of your last life, and then that very thought found your place in this world. So now you are here. This is the very explanation uh, we found in text. But uh, when we talk about the consciousness and how it arises arises in a new life, Buddha says that uh, Buddha gave a simile and says that this is so fast. The last thought mm, being happen to experience will be the cause of the next birth. But when the last thought of that particular life travel or transmit to the next life, that thoughts change and appear another thing. Okay, let me try this again. The rebirth consciousness is there, and it is the last thought, right? The rebirth conscious, let's say last thought of last life, caused you to be born as you are today, right? So suppose that you are born today, and yesterday you were in that life. The last thought of your last life caused you to have this birth today. When the last thought traveled from the previous body, of course it is the energy to find a new place. But as soon as that thought departed from that body, that's done, it's over.
I do understand that. That means you are not born into the second life or the current one the same way you were
You were there, yes.
right?
Yeah.
It is like they say that it is like a leaf.
Yeah.
Right?
What I'm trying to say is that karma is impermanent. Karma is not the same thought, same feelings, same meritorious deeds are not coming to next life.
So then why bother?
Yeah, why bother?
No, no. It
Of
does
course.
come. No, it
Yeah.
does come, but in a different form.
That's what I'm planning to say after that.
Yeah.
So in one sense, we do not want to bother about anything. That's true. Buddha
You can
asked,
do any bad things because
yeah.
it won't matter.
That's why, suppose you were Peter or Anna last time, right? Let's say we don't know whatever she or Anna or Peter did resulted today as suppose that I was Peter last life, right? Whatever Peter did, uh, you know uh, is something that I experienced today, right? But at the same time, Buddha did not give that kind of direct answers too. He says that the karma you did in the previous life would cause you to have some sort of experiences this life. At the same time, karma is not only the previous things you did.
Yeah, because you have a thought and you die and you are born somewhere
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
So
Karma
you are
baggage is
bringing
so big.
everything, I mean. So
Yeah.
that is why, maybe that's the way you have to understand that.
Yeah, the rebirth consciousness or the last thought could result to you another birth
Yeah.
with some power, some energies, but as you say, uh, there may be some sort of energies that has been collected throughout
Right.
samsara and it is in your bag of karma.
Yeah.
Sankara, we call it sankara. So as we have been discussing, we do not want to bother about anything we did in the previous lives because we don't know, in one sense. At the same time, we understand that it could happen because it helps us to stop doing wrong things and cultivate good things to stop uh, the rebirth or repeated existence in this samsara.
Know who was before.
Yeah,
So that being or whatever
yeah.
isn't bothered with what is happening to me. So why should I worry about what is going to be?
you know you no it's not sure. In my point of view, yeah, yeah, in my point of view, some people think that this is because of previous karma, and of course those who have direct uh, knowledge about not only in this life and of course previous, and some people could read their own past. Even before the Buddha, there were people who could read their life's cycle into thousands, and they saw that because of that reason they die, and after that they had this. Because of that, they saw the causal relationship from this life to next life, right? So they were bothering about their past. Now I am here because of the previous karma. And the good thing there is that if you see your previous life, if you have a clue about what you did, you can stop it clear. Because people who are ignorant about the previous lives or the immediate previous life could think that this is a single unit, and if there was no previous life, there couldn't be a next life as well. So why should we worry about spirituality? Why should we worry about suffering in next life, or after that let's enjoy the sensual pleasure? People could fall into that uh, dangerous conclusion. Again, the good thing is that uh, Buddha never asked people to think about their past lives in terms of practicing sila, samadhi, and panya, because there are enough evidences of suffering right now, right? We don't want to know whether we had lives in divine existence, human realms, and hells in the past. Whatever I am saying is only the suffering and the cessation of suffering, Buddha said in this very discourse. So Buddha directed people to think of their life only in the present moment and understand their suffering. So we don't want to think about the previous lives. Definitely, that is true. But if you take care of your life right now, it means if you take care of your way of thinking right now, we do not want to worry about the future, and the past also is rebuilding because the present moment is slowly, quickly passes into you know uh, you know the future, and the present moments becomes the past. So let's say that we become mindful, perfect right now, and we continue that kind of mindfulness um, to the future. Now it's 7:30 and we start becoming mindful of all these phenomena in the body and mind right now, and we do not break that rope of mindfulness um, at all. Suppose we continue this practice to a month. So today is September the 21st and September 30th. We are peaceful because we started the practice of mindfulness unbreakable on 21st at 7:30 p.m. and now we are in September 30th. Because of the mindfulness practice for a couple of days, we are totally peaceful. Immediate past of our practice of our life is so perfect. So therefore, Buddha said that don't worry about the past. Don't worry about what you did yesterday, but take the practice right now and concentrate on that. Then you are creating your past history again because you are taking care of the present moment, taking care of your practice on in the present moment, and don't worry about the future as well. So uh, that's how he says. I wanted to show you that karma is also impermanent. In general truth, in general usage, people say that people understand that karma flows without changing. No, it's change.
Yes,
Karma change.
I can understand that.
Yeah,
But that is, I'm proud of Buddhism that very, because of that very thing. That's the only way I can understand, explain and understand the differences among people, and because not God didn't create us.
yeah,
We have created ourselves,
that's true.
and that's what is we. That's why you are not. No, no. I am responsible for who I am today. So I'm proud to understand that way. But
No,
when
no.
I think about that,
What she was going to say that the word "we," right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
But it is, yeah, it is okay. Those four things I mean, and you can that nothing is permanent. Okay, you can understand that, you can practice that, and there is no guilt. We wouldn't have been having this discussion if we attain Nibbana after practicing
of
that way.
course, yes, that's
But
true.
if we don't, then what happens? That's the question comes
Yeah, yeah.
automatically.
So, in order to attain Nibbana, actually, we have to do the same thing. There are a couple of questions. The interpretation Buddha has given. What has to be done for a normal person to attain Sotapan? And what has to be attained to the next level, Sakadagami, by a Sotapan? What has to be practiced by a Sotapanna to attain next level? What has to be practiced by Sakadagami to attain the next level, Anagami? And what has to be practiced by Anagami, the third level of enlightened person, to attain Nibbana? And what an Arahant is doing after attaining enlightenment? To, of course, that's the very thing that we are going to discuss. Uh, uh, the question came on the right time. Understand the three characteristics of five aggregates. Five aggregates are forms, feelings, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So these are the five sections or subjects a normal person should take into investigation, and what he or she has to uh, do with these five is to see the impermanence of forms, feelings, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. When you see the impermanence of each of these as they are, uh, you may understand, or they may understand, she may understand that there are things that should not attach to, because they always change from this to another thing. So what is changing should not be attached. So clinging is happening when you don't understand the impermanence. So when you understand the impermanence as it is of all these five aggregates, you do not attach to them, then there is no suffering. So non-self means the combining understanding of both impermanence and suffering. If you see the impermanence and the underlying nature of suffering of all these mental and physical things, you may conclude that there is nothing to attach, there is nothing to take as me and myself. So in order for a normal person to enlighten as Sotapanna, you need to uh, investigate on five aggregates of clinging. So the person who achieved that level also should focus on these five aggregates further in order to see the impermanent suffering and non-self in that level. There is nothing else for him to focus. So the one who achieved the second level, Sakadagami, also should take the five aggregates of clinging again and concentrate deeper than the previous level, and achieve the third level. The third level one has only one step to go, and he or she, sorry, uh, takes the five aggregates of clinging into his analysis and meditated on them, develop his mind and achieve the final stage of enlightenment called arahantship. And what does an arahant do after? Because he has done everything, there is nothing to be done after that. Again, his tendency is very strange and marvelous and extraordinary. He or she has nothing to do with further on cutting off of craving and desire, but he is of course mindful about all these impermanence on forms and feelings, perception, mental formation and consciousness. Yes. Five aggregates are there: forms, feelings, perception, mental formation, consciousness. Everyone has these five. Even the Buddha, even an Pacheka Buddha, silent Buddha, even Arahants, and other all kind of human beings and living beings have these five aggregates. But Buddha did not have clinging or grasping onto these five aggregates. Arahants completely destroy that part of the aggregates. They have, clinging or upadana, attachment. Clinging, grasping, upadana, attachment, all these words used for one thing. That is intense desire for forms, feelings, perception, mental formation and consciousness. So they do not have that you know uh, idea or clinging upadana in their mind, because they have eradicated that completely.
Is eating something that is nice. He enjoys it, but he doesn't sort of cling and want more. Is that what it is?
Yeah, for our understanding, we can say that he enjoys, but what do we understand with the word enjoy is a question again, because we try to understand from our perspectives what enjoy mean, what is enjoyment means. Yeah,
I mean, say the taste buds, say
yeah, of
nice
course.
and friends.
Yeah, he or she taste the flavor, but there is no expectation on it, no enjoyment of that taste like us. That's the best thing. That's the best way we can say it. It's unimaginable the way he or she thinks about it, but as the discourse says, that he does not or she does not enjoy the pleasure out of the taste, out of the flavor. We may say, let's check from our own experiences. When you get the best food you like, right? How many and how much enjoyment or pleasure come and experience it is known only to you, right? You may use words to express it. So that's how it, that's how you express your feelings and so forth about a particular food you like most. But imagine that you do not create such such feelings, perception out of eating the best food you have. You purposely, intentionally do not create. Do you see any difference from previous experience and this experience? Right? What I'm trying to say is that arahants, of course, has the tongue, and he or she has ears, eyes, the nose, the body, and of course the mind is there. There are six sensory experiences like us, but the difference takes place when he or she use these senses and sensory experiences, because the arahants uh, immediately realize the impermanence of contact of senses and sensory experiences. There is no pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feelings enjoyed like us, because he has upgraded his mind into a certain level where he or she sees only impermanence and suffering non-self of all these sensory experiences. We, of course, don't see such uh, developed, we don't have such developed sense of eye, sense of wisdom to see the impermanence in the deepest level of our sensory experience. That's why we do immediately say, oh, this is tasty, I enjoyed it, I like it very much, I like to eat again, could you please make it? And so many stories are built behind such experiences, because of not seeing impermanence as they are. Even though you do not split words about particular taste, your mind may speak a lot. That is because of not getting into such level of understanding on impermanence.
Say that you read the textbook and you understand.
Yeah,
Okay? Then that is not enough.
that is textual understanding and part of thinking, which is a part of wisdom. I don't see that is I don't say that is useless. That is very useful. And Buddha has categorized wisdom into three: Suttame Jnana, the knowledge or the wisdom that you gain by reading, by discussing, by listening, and so forth. So it should be there. Then the second category of wisdom is called Chintame Jnana, Chintame Panya. What you heard, what you read, what you write uh, are taken into consideration, analysis, and think over, ponder over. So you compare what you read to practical situations and think this could happen in this way. That's why these things were there. And if there were no such thing, there couldn't be happen. So you think, analyze. So analytical knowledge is the second category of wisdom. So then the third one is bhavaname panya, wisdom through the development of your mind. It means you need to find the section of your mind where the wholesomeness stays. So you need to develop morality, concentration, wisdom. You need to develop the confidence on the teaching and perseverance, mindfulness. So we have that department of departments, that kind of departments of our mind, and we need to cultivate them to face with the negative side of our mind. So from that, you complete the sutta, the first category of wisdom, and also the second category of wisdom, and complete the third one. By cultivating the first category of wisdom, sutta jnana, and the wisdom through reading, listening, and so forth, and also wisdom through evaluation. By doing these two, you find an easy way to develop the Bhamaname Panya as well. That's why we encourage people to read. That's why we Buddha encourage people, monks to, and also other people to have discussion on Dhamma, because you think, you evaluate, you analyze, and then you think about the ways of you know blocking the path for unwholesomeness and creating a path for wholesomeness. So you break through the walls of ignorance with that power and go into nirvana. So by reading, you may get a lot.
But the third one is a difficult.
Uh, I don't think so. If you practice the first one and the second one perfectly okay, you may find that easy, because by reading, what you develop is kind of concentration, right? By writing a Dhamma book, by writing by listening to a discourse for an hour or so, you try to concentrate. By that, you develop certain faculties of your mind, and they are so helpful to to stay longer period in concentration. Anything in these three could help each other to come to a great conclusion, right? So I was telling with these five aggregates that any person should concentrate on the five aggregates of clinging. Of course, we should say that, because uh, that's they are the thing they have. Only Arahants and Buddha have aggregates. Others have five aggregates of clinging, because they have clinging to five aggregates. So those who wants to those who want to attain enlightenment from normal level to Sotapanna level to Sakadagami level to Anagami level to Arahantship, should focus on their five aggregates of clinging. Then only they could destroy the clinging part or grasping of the five aggregates, and have only aggregate. So at the passing away of your life, which means which means nibbana, you end up your life cycle and you don't have the aggregates after that. In normal death, you departed from a body called forms and take another body into your you know so you start a new life with another body, which means you of course do not do anything with the aggregates part, but it is been continued with some sort of taste, some sort of icing on it. So when you have rebirth, you created some sort of more clinging. That's why you're having another life. But in the case of Sotapanna, in the case of Sakadagami, Anagami, their rebirth is different from those normal beings. So let's get into the slide. So clinging to forms, clinging to feelings, clinging to perception, mental formation, consciousness is the problem of suffering. That's the attachment. Uh, I have quoted here a beautiful stanza from a discourse in Samyutta Nikaya, and try to understand the stanza. Pena pindupamang rupang vedana bubbulupama marichikupama sanya sankara kadalupama mayupama cha vinyanang deepitadicca banduma. So it's a very beautiful stanza in concerning of the five aggregates of clinging. Form is like a lump of foam, FOAM, feeling like a water bubble. Perception is like a mirage, volitions like a plantain trunk, and consciousness like an illusion. So explain the kinsman of the sun. That's the Buddha. Okay, so Buddha, sorry, the king. Yes. So form, the rupa kanda is like a form. If you take soap and wash it in a water bucket, you have a lot of forms. They look like shining and very beautiful, but with one touch, small touch, gentle touch, they break. So the rupa, what are the rupas here that we need to consider in the practice? So your body is rupa for you, and my body for you is rupa. And this wall, the screen, the computer, the bag, all are rupas. Whatever you perceive from your eyes, ears, tongue, body, and all these senses are considered as rupa, right? So they are fragile, breakable, subject to change, like the form in the water bucket, like the form in the river. A lot of disciples like bhikkhus and bhikkhunis who are meditating in the forest try hard. So much hardship on the practice were there, but they did not enlighten, uh, irrespective of great effort. But they was sitting down close to the river where the water is disturbed by mountain cliffs, and they saw the bubbles. They saw the forms. Sorry, not the bubbles. And they compared their body into those forms and realized the Nibbana. So the Rupa, Pena Pindupamang Rupang, if you know some Sinhala or Pali with this, that may be helpful to understand the message of the statement. Pena Pindupamang Rupang. Rupa is like Pena in Sinhala, right? Pena is Pena. And this discourse is called Pena Pindupama Sutta. Vedana Bubbulupama. You see the bubbles when you boil water on an open pot. You see the bubbles come and down, going down, come and going down. So the Vedana, whatever Vedana means, feelings, pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, neutral feelings, are just like bubbles. We are okay, we are fine with the understanding of bubbles and they come and go, but we do not exactly realize those pleasant feelings are impermanent like that. What normal ordinary people do when they have pleasant feelings? Enjoy them, right? When they have unpleasant feelings, cry and beat their heart and make so much trouble after. That's what normal we do in normal conditions. But if we really put this practice into those situations, there is nothing to be upset. So, and when we have neutral feelings, of course, we are not aware of the nature of neutral feeling. We try to change it to pleasant. Unfortunately, there is no guarantee that we can make it pleasant again. Either we turn into unpleasant or neutral or whatever, or mixture of something. Sanka Marichi Kupuma Sanya. We have talked this before when we discussed Girimananda Sutta. If you can remember, uh, uh, the Anicca Sanya, uh, We discussed that so much, but I'm telling you this again. Marichikupama Sanya. Sanya, perception is just like a mirage. If you go on the highway or the freeway or the other ways that you usually go, you can see water on that in some distance. They are not, of course, water. It's a mirage because of, according to scientific explanation, I don't exactly, but I remember that because of the reflection, because of the reflection it happened, but the light and also the water, heat, and there are some scientific, explanation for that. Because of that, you see it. Otherwise, there is no water there. That's the good example. That's the example given to understand the nature of sanya. Sanya is a perception we created in mind. You have the sanya. You have the sanya of your car. When I say your house, you have that sanya in your mind, like this. When we say a woman, we like to create a figure of woman in our heart, in our mind. When we say a baby boy, a baby girl, when we say Superman, when we say those names, we have that perception in mind. That's the perception. So it's just like a mirror. My Sankara Kadalupama, which is easy to understand. The banana tree. Banana tree is like other trees, like this much big. And if you do not know the exact nature of a banana tree, you may think that we can take into a post here. But banana tree, when you peel out one after the other, there is nothing strong in it. Sankara is something like that. And Maya Upamacha Vijnana, illusion is, Vijnana is an illusion. Consciousness is just like an illusion. It means that a magician does magic by making some illusion between you and himself. But if you see a magician doing magic from behind, you don't see anything magic. There is a sutta called Alagaddupama Sutta, and in it Buddha says this simile of magician. And Venerable Katikurunde Jnananda, in his book of Concept and Reality, explained this simile beautifully. And if you can read it, that would be very nice. And to understand the nature of consciousness. So, to attain Nibbana, we need to take these five aggregates and look into see whether you create clinging on it, desire on it, craving, attachment to them. If you take care of that part, you won't be traveling in this samsara, experiencing so much distress. And the other conclusion that I can make at this moment is that if you take care of, well, the sensory experiences as they are, it means when you see, when you are realize that I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm listening, I'm tasting, I'm having this and that. So you put the theory of impermanent into it and understand suffering as it is, and you do not take things as yours as others. So the problem is solved in the very place you happen to have clinging. So Buddha has addressed this part in the Alagaddupama Sutta. So Buddha said in the discourse, whatever is not yours, let go of it. Things do not belong to you, right? You don't keep them, right? There is no possessiveness in them. So Buddha asked to leave them behind. What are these things that you don't belong to? Monks, whatever is not yours, let go of. It will be for your long-term welfare and happiness. And what is not yours? Form is not yours. It means body. Let go of it. Your letting go of it will be for your long-term welfare and happiness. Can you accept that fact? No, it doesn't mean that you do not look after your body. It does mean that you do not attach to your body and related things of your body. You do not you know suffer you do not suffer anything happen to your body unpleasantly or anything, and you do not worry about anything in your body. It's still difficult to understand. Buddha said that this body is created by so many parts, and each part of the body, each single part of the body has the nature of impermanence, and it has the body parts have their own changing style. They are well supported by the food and other requisites. So at the end, this body is a creation of so many material and immaterial things. When the immaterial and material things stop their the consciousness, the when we look at the five aggregates, the form is only the material. Feeling, perception, sankhara, conscious formation, and they are mind made. Of course, the mind. When we divide the human being into various categorization, there is one categorization, that's body and mind. So body is the body form, and the mind is mind, which has so many categorizations. Here there are four, right? Uh, Buddha said that let go of some whatever does not belong to you, which means the body. So body is not yours. If your body is yours, why can't you control of aging? Why can't you control of getting your head they are gray and they're always breaking? So if these things belongs to us perfectly, we should have the total authority to keep them clean and clear always. But it's a mistaken um, it's a mistaken idea. It's a wrong idea that we keep always. So that's why Buddha said that it's not belong to you. It's belong to the very procedure of it. So leave that part. It mean what he uh, implied here is that the attachment says this is me and myself. This is my body, but not uh, the person who is supported by wisdom. From wisdom point of view, it does not belong to me or myself or so on, and it is something fragile always. So in order to do that, you should develop anicca dukkha anatta in practice. You should contemplate on the theory of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self in the body, in the form. I'm going these things quickly. What the Buddha taught at the end in the discourse, both formally and now, monks, I declare only stress and the cessation of stress. This is a very good statement, very powerful statement, very important statement of the Buddha. It summarizes the whole teachings of the Buddha, whole effort of the Buddha throughout 45 years. What I have been doing so far in my Buddhahood uh, for you is explaining the stress as it is, it means suffering as it is, and the cessation of suffering. Therefore, monks, if others insult, abused, taunt, bother and harass you as well, you should feel no hatred, no resentment, no dissatisfaction of heart because of that. Because of what? The form, he says earlier that you should not keep something does not belong to you. Leave them apart. What is not belong to you? Form, rupa. So if somebody insult you or abuse you or scold at you, so you are not worried about anything because they are not belong to you. Okay, so I'm going to send you the PowerPoint presentation as an attachment. You can read the other 2 or 3 slides on your own way and understand the significance of this discourse. Of course, concentrate on 5 aggregates and understand the Dhamma as the Buddha taught, not from somebody else's point of view. It means you need to believe on the Buddha that he is self-enlightened, perfectly enlightened, and what he said is well said, clearly said, and results is visible as soon as you do the actions. And anybody who practice this teaching of the Buddha, which is well said, could attain to level enlightened level respectively. So you need to believe in the noble triple gem and understand the 5 aggregates, and you will be nibbana. There is nothing uh, there are no so many things to do in this practice. Just take these couple of things and you will be nibbana. And that's the end of the session today. I hope you have a great weekend